How's it going, everybody? I've got a simple video for you today. I spent a lot of yesterday handling some behind the scenes work. As you can see behind me, I set up a green screen. Not great, but hey, I'm working on it. And did some more decorating, cleaning up. And my brothers are moving into town, so there's a lot of stuff I have to take care of, which makes it hard for me to go out and film certain things. But today we're going to talk about the inevitable death of YouTube. Yes, I hate to say it, but I feel like unless things change, we're looking at the decline of YouTube. YouTube peaked, I guess, at some point, and now I think we're watching the slow demise. The reason I say this is that not only have we consistently heard about demonetization, the rise of sandboxing, which is when YouTube will block your video, you have to be signed in to see it, there's no more comments, there's no likes, there's no view count, it can't be shared, can't be embedded. We've continually heard about these processes, and we continually see people negatively impacted by them. Another thing that we've heard recently is that YouTube is going to start de-ranking videos that are conspiratorial, meaning YouTube is taking an editorial decision on what videos should and should not appear in the search. Then we saw Project Veritas do an undercover video where they recorded a YouTube employee flat out saying that they sometimes will, control what appears on the trending page and the front page. We saw the problem where many people who made videos about Las Vegas had their videos deranked or just disappeared from search. We saw Casey Neistat tried fundraising for the victims, and he got demonetized. And then we saw YouTube say that, sorry, you can't make money off tragedies. Even Casey can't do it. Casey Neistat is considered one of the most prominent YouTubers, YouTube celebrities, and even YouTube has gone after him. But Jimmy Kimmel, no problem. CNN, no problem. Major news networks have no problem. They can make a video that is wrong or conspiratorial, and then, sure enough, still get monetized. And this is a good example of this. In the New York Daily News, they ran a headline on October 6th titled, "Second person may have had access to Stephen Paddock's suite." These news stories are absolutely okay. And when that story came out, I said, wow, if a second person may have had access to Stephen Paddock's suite, there is the possibility that a second shooter could exist. Now, it was shortly after the police said, no, this is not true. There is no second shooter. That headline, that a second person may have appeared in the room, that's gonna get deranked on YouTube, presumably. I mean, the video that got pulled down was evidence of a second shooter, which is a bit more extreme than saying someone had access to his room. But you can see where I'm going. YouTube has taken an editorial stance. Channels that are not mainstream outlets are going to get deranked and demonetized, even Casey Neistat. And this is exemplified by another video Casey made called Demonetized, 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 where another one of his videos got demonetized. So we can see YouTube continually taking actions, even against some of its most prominent users. Now, before I go on, I want to sidestep here and just say, demonetization, in most cases, does not mean ads will never appear. It just means that most ads won't appear. So a video that might normally make $200 is going to make $10. Some ads will still play. Most ads will not. So demonetization is the stripping of the overwhelming majority of your revenue. Now, let's move on to the main event. Paul Joseph Watson. A story they recently published on InfoWars. Yes, InfoWars, I follow these people just like I follow the far left, surprise, surprise. Paul put out an article about how one of his videos debunking a liberal was sandboxed. This means that there's no comments, no likes, no view count. You can't embed it. I talked about this just a few seconds ago. This video showed a woman saying the far right was potentially more dangerous, that the far right was being radicalized, and that the media isn't talking about it. Paul's video was him, in a snarky manner, debunking these claims by saying that Islamic terrorism was more of a problem, going on to show that there were hundreds of people injured, that there were dozens of attacks carried out throughout the world. 5 pages, he says, of varying attacks that happened throughout the world. So my numbers might be a little off, but he made a video where he simply was criticizing liberal ideology, and YouTube put him in a sandbox. So what can we see now? Casey Neistat getting demonetized. This is just the first step. The wave of demonetizations and sandboxing hit more fringe politics for a while. But now we can see the demonetization is hitting some prominent creators. This is why I say we are facing the decline, the inevitable death of YouTube. If YouTube does not solve these problems and these trends continue, we can make the obvious prediction of where this is going to go. Large creators like Casey, seeing that no light at the end of the tunnel, seeing that their money is potentially disappearing, they're gonna go somewhere else and try and figure out a different way to monetize. Because if you're making a video about helping people, you want to raise money for people, and YouTube still won't let you monetize, but at the same time we can all see Jimmy Kimmel monetize, well then, sure enough, we're going to look for a different way to share our content. YouTube is not going to be that place. Now, listen, when they announced sandboxing, we thought, okay, this is scary because they might start targeting political opinion. A lot of what they were targeting is political opinion, but they said they were going after like terrorism-related content. And one of the first videos to get sandboxed was a video about genetics and intelligence. Well, a lot of people said it's eventually going to hit more mainstream politics, and it's going to start affecting larger personalities. We hear these things, we hear the slippery slope argument, but often it doesn't happen so soon. Now we are seeing Paul Joseph Watson have his criticism of someone on the left get sandboxed. And it looks like the slippery slope is actually happening. We're seeing Casey Neistat demonetized. What's the next step? Now it's true, YouTube is still probably the best place for the average person to get attention, to post their content, to share content. But we're facing a rock and a hard place. At least I can say I am. I went to Catalonia, I went to Barcelona, and I title my videos, Independence, Barcelona, referendum, etc. Nobody watches it, YouTube doesn't share it, and those videos get demonetized. Well, clearly I can say that isn't working. And I made a video about it called This Needs to Change, or This Isn't Working, because it's not. Spending a ton of money to go out and report on the ground isn't working. Digital news outlets are struggling to monetize. Many of them have found some ways to do it, but even some of the biggest and most prominent digital media outlets that are claiming to make a lot of money aren't really making money, and I'm gonna refrain from calling out any of these companies specifically. But the industry knows it, that digital is struggling to make money. I can see it happening. I know that if I go to whatever country and spend the money to report on this, I'm going to lose money doing it. What is the net gain? So here's the challenge. I can make a video with a news headline that people won't click, that will get demonetized and will cost me a lot of money, or you can make YouTube-friendly content and try and rope people into political ideas. But people still complain about that too. Looking at Paul Joseph Watson, he is not the most extreme personality that exists on the right. I would say Paul Joseph Watson is actually rather tame. He's conservative, he's critical of Islam and immigration, just like most people on the right are. But he's not someone, he's actually someone who, you know, attacks white nationalism and is critical of the alt-right, for what it's worth. The subscription model is a potential safeguard. The reason that I know that even if my videos are demonetized, I can still do this is because people support me through PayPal and Patreon and by donating cryptocurrency. And that means that even if my video is demonetized, I'm going to lose money on the trip, but I know that at the end of the month, I won't be destitute. These international trips, and in some instances these national trips, they're a loss. When something big happens in the US and a ton of Americans watch it, I can make money. I can generate a surplus of revenue, but then I immediately have to spend that money on travel and accommodation for other trips. When I go to Barcelona, I lose money, but I feel like these stories are important and it's what I want to do. These are the stories that I want to cover. So it seems to me, to sort of go back to the main point of argument in this video, we are facing the inevitable decline of YouTube. It's hard to believe that the second largest search engine and something as big as YouTube can go away, can falter. But it is possible. You know, we're in uncharted territory. No one thought MySpace would collapse when it did, but it did, because an alternative emerged that solved a lot of problems. MySpace was a little messy. It feels like we're continually seeing screw-ups by the YouTube team, failure to address concerns, the demonetization of YouTube celebrities, and now the sandboxing of political commentators who are criticizing the mainstream left. It seems like we can make this prediction. We know exactly where this is going to go. Now, my goal is to make sure that I always do news, on-the-ground reporting, and when there is nothing really big happening, or honestly, I spend a day here just cleaning things up, I'm still going to make a video for you and talk about the things that I think are important. And right now, seeing that Paul Joseph Watson got sandboxed, this is it. You know, that's the canary in the coal mine. We heard about the potential for sandboxing. We saw some more extreme opinions get sandboxed, but Paul Joseph Watson is not the more extreme opinion in this instance. He typically is followed by a lot of Trump supporters and American conservatives. His opinions aren't far right in a certain extent, though many people call him far right. He's actually critical of those who are considered far right, whatever that means. So when you see someone like Paul Joseph Watson, who has 1 million plus subscribers, hundreds of thousands of Twitter followers, he's critical of the alt-right, this is the next step. This is the next grain of sand in the heap. Because keep in mind, eventually, we are going to see actual news reporting sandbox. So let me know what you think. Comment below and we'll keep the conversation going. You can follow me on Twitter at Timcast. Send me suggestions for story ideas. I'm a bit stuck in New York for the time being because I've got, you know, like I said, my brothers are moving down here and I've got some meetings coming up next week. So I'll be here for the foreseeable future. Probably after the 3rd or 4th, then I'm going to start looking at the next big trip. But keep in mind, the 4th is supposed to be a very large Antifa protest day. Then we have the 5th of November, which is always a big protest day. So these are the big news stories that are coming up. But stay tuned. I'm working on setting up podcasts and things like that. So I'm here. Tweet at me. Send me any tips, any story ideas. If you want to support my work, go to timcast.com/donate. Give whatever you'd like. Give nothing at all. My videos are always free and available every day at 4 p.m. And stay tuned. I will see you all tomorrow at 4 p.m.